I am Elaine LaBelle, a Dominican sister out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. My mission as a pastoral coordinator is in Otisville, Michigan, south of Flint.
I'm Jean Schaub. I'm a married woman and I am the pastoral coordinator at St. Mary on the Lake Parish in Manitoba Beach, Michigan in Lenawee County.
I am Anne Marie Petrie. I'm an Adrian Dominican, and I am a pastoral coordinator at Gaines, Michigan.
Probably the greatest challenge I find in ministry is that when the day is finished, to go home to an empty house, to have no one to relate the excitement or the challenges that I had that day.
I think my biggest challenge in pastoral ministry is saying goodbye to people. I've developed very close relationships with the people in the parish over the 10 years that I've been there, and many have died, moved away, are unable to attend church, and it's very hard to say goodbye to the people when we've developed such close relationships with them.
I feel my greatest challenge is all the needs, to try to be there for people who have needs. And sometimes it gets overwhelming, and I need to remember that I can't do it all, that I'm not the Messiah. And so I try to be there for people. If sometimes when I get overworked, I'm not smiling, and they say, is there something wrong? And I just have to remember that my Saturdays and Sundays are when I really meet the people, and I need to be there for them at that time and to embrace them.
I just celebrated my 50th year in religious life, and as the parish St. Francis Xavier celebrated with me, one of the gifts that I received was a composite of the wedding of this couple, and they wrote a poem to say what I contributed to their life. This poem was extremely colorful, saying how difficult it must have been for me to walk through their engagement time, to walk through the difficulties that they were having, and yet to bring light to them, that I was always there for them. They now have 3 children, one of which has been named after me, and I was thrilled to be able to receive this composite of both the children and then the wedding picture. It was extremely rewarding for me.
Just recently, a young girl in the parish came up to me and said, "I want to be just like you when I grow up. I want to be in charge of a church because I think I could do this, and I love God as much as you do too." That's a cute story, but I have a little more serious story too. We had a couple in our parish, and the woman was deciding to come into the Catholic Church through our Rite of Christian Initiation program. And shortly before she was initiated into the church, she became critically ill. And so we went to the hospital, and she was baptized, confirmed, and received her first Holy Communion. It was just a beautiful time. Her husband sat in the corner of the hospital room and was not really involved in the whole process. And after it was finished, I asked him if he had any questions, and he said, "Well, I'm not baptized, I don't believe in God," and he said, I just don't get all this stuff. About a year later, he became critically ill, and he asked for me to come to the hospital. So I went to the hospital, and he said, "I want to be with my wife forever." And he said, "I believe in God now." He said, "Could I be baptized?" So we called the pastoral priest over, and he baptized him, and he was confirmed and received his first Holy Communion, and he died 2 days later. And when he was baptized, we gave him the gift of a crucifix, and he grasped it, and he said, "My Jesus, my Savior, I'm going to be with you and my wife." it was a beautiful moment.
Sister Ann.
All right, now I would like to have your story.
I think that the most exciting thing that's happened the past couple years, our little church is one of the oldest church. Well, it is the oldest parish in the diocese, Genesee County, and it was very small, little house on the prairie type church, and it was 125 years old. But it was growing. The countryside was growing, and so we decided maybe we need to build a new church. And the very exciting part about that was it took us 10 years to get permission to build this church. But the people were so exciting. Things that would have cost $52,000, like all our furnishings at the altar and the podium and the altar for the tabernacle, would have cost us so much money. And a gentleman in our parish had cut down an oak tree and planked it and believed that someday it would be something special. So 4 people in our parish made everything for that, for the sanctuary, not $52,500, because they built it themselves, they worked it out themselves, and it's just beautiful furniture. And then a whole nother group decided they were going to take care of the land, and they said, this is out in the country. We had 44 acres. They said, let's just keep it as natural as we can. So we have very little grass, a lot of wildflowers, and that's very special. They try to keep it up. And of course, we have flowers to be planted in the spring. And there's so many other people. They're just so concerned about the poor, and we have a pantry and all the things that we couldn't have in the little church, we now have in this larger church. And even though people said we don't want a bigger church because we want, we all know each other. They did not know each other if they went to a different mass. We had 3 masses in the little church, and if they went to a separate mass, they didn't know the people there. So now there is I believe, a warmer community forming. It's beautiful. The little kids open the door for the older people as they're coming into church, and there's many greeters. So I just think that the beauty of a new building, even though it's an expense, was worth it.